But here's my point. It's a pattern. Your consumers actually aren't in control of anything. You are. You control their data. You control their genetic information. Now you're about to sell it. You promise them, we won't ever sell it without your consent, but you're doing it. You promise them, we'll allow you to delete it, but you don't. In fact, you've lied to them. Have you not?
Senator, we have not. I assure you that we are deleting all of our customers who have requested.
No, you're not. You're not, because your policies say they're not, and you're not deleting it because if you were, your company wouldn't be worth $300 million. No, don't read from what your guy behind you is shoveling talking points to you now. I don't want your talking points. I've read your policies. I've seen what they are, and I tell you what, it's amazing to me you're not getting your socks sewed off by your customers. I hope they will. I hope they will rush to the courthouse, even as we are here today, to sue you into oblivion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Till Savage, if I could just start with you. So how many customers do you have approximately?
Between 14 and 15 million customers.
Between 14 to 15 million. I think you told Senator Britt just a minute ago that a goodly number of those are minors. Is that correct?
What I said was I don't have the number of customers.
You have the genetic data of a good many minors. Is that correct?
We have genetic data for a particular number of minors, and I will be happy to provide.
People under the age of 18. Is that correct?
That is how I'm defining a minor.
So they give your customers, let's make sure I understand your business model. Your customers give you their genetic information for you to run various tests on. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
And I mean, that's pretty sensitive stuff, isn't it? Somebody's genetic information. Is there anything more personal than that?
I would agree with you, Senator, that genetic data is sensitive information.
And so now you're just going to sell all of it? 15 million people, bunches of kids, maybe millions. It's just going to be sold in the open market?
As Senator, the good news, as I mentioned, is that the two bidders or buyers for the company, one is Regeneron, which is
that's the big pharma company.
It
doesn't make me feel any better.
Is a large pharmaceutical company.
All right, so you're gonna take 15 million Americans' genetic information and you're gonna sell it to somebody. And your message to us is today: trust us, it'll be fine. Maybe it's a big pharma company. Maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe they'll treat it right. I thought your privacy code, your privacy commitment, said that consumers had a right not to have their information shared with anybody else without their consent. I mean, I've got your privacy statement right here. It says that without their consent, you can't share their information. You're about to sell it.
Senator, that consent is, essentially for,
not real.
Not share for research purposes, and we are not selling it for research purposes.
So when you tell the consumer, give us your personal information and we'll take money from you, and we won't give it to anybody without your consent, it's not real. It just means, maybe kind of depends on the day.
Senator, I will say that our customers' data is their own. They have the right at all times to access that information. They can edit it.
Well, sure they can, but you're about to sell it to who knows who. They can't control it. You said to Senator Moody that consumers have complete control of their data. Complete. How can they have complete control if you're about to sell it without their consent?
Senator, they can delete that data anytime up until the sale and after.
Oh, okay. They can delete the data. Have you fixed the ability of customers to go on your website and delete it? Because right after you announced your sale, your deletion page went down. I hold in my hand here an article from the Wall Street Journal. 23andMe site goes down as customers struggle to delete their data. Can they even get onto your site to delete their data?
They can, Senator. And
you fixed this?
That was an issue that, yes, we fixed immediately after.
It's up and running now? Customers can go on?
Customers can go on and they can delete their data.
What happens when they go onto your site to delete their data?
When a customer logs into their account at 23andMe, they go to their settings page, and there's a section there where just click delete my data. It confirms that they want to delete their data, and it's deleted automatically.
Is that true? Let's take a look.
Okay.
When they go onto your page, they get an opportunity. It says permanently delete the data. So they click the button and says permanently delete the data, and then they get a notification that says your account is no longer accessible. How do they know if they can't access their account anymore? How do they know their data's been deleted?
Because we send them a notification that their information has been deleted.
You send it once, and how long does that take?
Our policies state that, we will delete their data within 30 days, and in most cases, it is automatic and happens much quickly.
And when you deleted it, it's deleted. It's gone forever.
All the genetic data is deleted forever, and yes.
Really? Because that's not what your privacy statement says in the fine print. Let's read it. What your statement says is, we retain personal information for as long as necessary to provide the services and fill the transactions you've requested, to comply with our legal obligations, resolve disputes, enforce agreements, et cetera, et cetera. And then it goes on, 23andMe and or our contracted genotyping laboratory will retain your genetic information even if you choose to delete your account.
Senator, 23andMe, it does not retain any genetic information regarding the consumer once they delete their account. We do.
It says right here that you will retain genetic information, including date of birth and sex, even if you choose to delete your account. This is your privacy policy. I'm just quoting from it.
Senator, to the best of my knowledge, we do not maintain any genetic information.
It says even if you choose to delete your account, we will retain your genetic information, date of birth and sex, even if you choose to delete your account.
There's some information that we do retain, such as, but not related to the genetic information.
Right.
But that, such as name, email address,
Oh.
and other.
So even if you delete the account, you retain their name, you retain their email address, you retain their date of birth, you retain their sex, and you retain their genetic information, even if they choose to delete your account. So in other words, don't talk to your suit behind you. Talk to me. He's not testifying. You are. You do not allow consumers actually to delete permanently their data. And when you said a minute ago to Senator Moody, at all times consumers have complete control of their data, that's just not true, is it? By the terms of your own agreement, that just is not true.
Senator, with all due respect, all of the genetic data is deleted. We are only maintaining.
With all due respect, what you are telling me is in direct contravention to what your own policy states, even if you choose to delete your account. In fact, what you do is you allow your consumers to delete their account settings, but their data isn't deleted. You still have it. The laboratory still has it. You have their name. You have their date of birth. You have their sex. And now you're going to sell it. Here's my point. It's a pattern. Your consumers actually aren't in control of anything. You are. You control their data. You control their genetic information. Now you're about to sell it. You promise them, we won't ever sell it without your consent, but you're doing it. You promise them, we'll allow you to delete it, but you don't. In fact, you've lied to them. Have you not?
Senator, we have not. I assure you that we are deleting all of our customers who have requested.
No, you're not. You're not, because your policies say they're not, and you're not deleting it because if you were, your company wouldn't be worth $300 million. No, don't read from what your guy behind you is shoveling talking points to you now. I don't want your talking points. I've read your policies. I've seen what they are, and I tell you what, it's amazing to me you're not getting your socks sewed off by your customers. I hope they will. I hope they will rush to the courthouse, even as we are here today, to sue you into oblivion for lying to them and taking their most personal, identifiable information and selling it for a profit and lying to them and to the American public. Quite frankly, Mr. Savage, what you're doing here has all kinds of implications, national security implications, all of it, but nothing is worse than taking the personal, identifiable information of American consumers and keeping it and lying to them about it while you make a huge profit off of it. It's unbelievable to me. It's absolutely unbelievable. This concludes our hearing. I want to thank each of the witnesses for taking the time to share your experience, your expertise, and your perspectives. Written questions can be submitted for the record until Wednesday, June 18th at 5 p.m. I'll ask the witnesses to answer and return questions to the committee within 2 weeks. The hearing's adjourned.
The room falls silent as Senator Josh Hawley's voice echoes through the Senate chamber, sharp, unflinching, and laced with fury. The words hang in the air like a verdict. I hope they will rush to the courthouse to sue you into oblivion. For a moment, the spectacle of American democracy feels raw again, stripped of ceremony, stripped of civility, exposing something deeper, something fragile. A senator thundering against a corporate titan. A CEO, eyes flickering under the fluorescent lights, reciting rehearsed denials. And behind it all, the uneasy truth that in the digital age, our very DNA has become a commodity. 15 million people, millions of families, children, their genetic code, the most intimate map of who they are, now reduced to numbers on a balance sheet. As Hawley's voice trembles between outrage and disbelief, we see more than a clash between politics and profit. We see the anatomy of a modern betrayal, one that stretches beyond a single company, beyond the sterile walls of a hearing room. It's the story of an age when privacy became a product and consent became a loophole. When the data that defines our lives, our names, our faces, our health, even our DNA, became the currency of empires. The 23andMe CEO insists that consumers control their own data. But in the fine print, control dissolves. The senator reads the line aloud, proof that even after deletion, the data lives on. Names, dates of birth, genetic markers, erased from the user's screen, but not from the company's servers. That's the quiet trick of modern capitalism, the illusion of choice. The checkbox that says, I agree, becomes the surrender of sovereignty. We trade our autonomy for convenience and call it innovation. As Hawley presses harder, his tone shifts from interrogation to indictment. His anger is not just personal, it's national. Behind every question is a warning that our laws, our oversight, our ethics have failed to keep pace with technology's hunger. That in this race to monetize humanity itself, America risks losing something elemental, the sanctity of the individual. When a corporation can hold your genetic identity hostage, when it can sell your inheritance to the highest bidder, what does liberty even mean? In that hearing room, under the glow of C-SPAN lights, the mask slips. The CEO's practiced smile falters. His answers twist into contradictions, then collapse under the senator's relentless crossfire. The hearing is adjourned, but the damage lingers, like static after a thunderclap. And that's the truth of it. The system doesn't break all at once. It erodes. One unchecked merger, one vague privacy clause, one apathetic shrug at a time. The people behind those corporate logos are not villains in black capes. They're polite, polished, and protected. But the effect is the same: power without accountability. Hawley's fury, whether you admire or despise him, taps into something universal, a primal recognition that ordinary Americans have been rendered transparent while corporations remain opaque. We are tracked, monitored, profiled, and packaged, and then told we're in control. In that moment, his voice becomes something larger than partisanship. It becomes a mirror, reflecting a nation waking up to the reality that freedom without privacy is an illusion. And that's why this hearing matters. Because it wasn't just about data. It was about the meaning of ownership in a digital democracy. It was about whether our most sacred information, the genetic code written into every cell of our bodies, belongs to us or to the corporations that promise to protect it. This is the moral frontier of the 21st century, not fought in the streets, but in hearings like this one, in contracts no one reads, in silent servers humming in corporate vaults. The fight for privacy is the fight for personhood. And when that senator's voice cracked with anger, it wasn't theater. It was the sound of a system finally confronting its reflection, a system that must decide whether the American citizen is still sacred or merely a source of data to be mined, sold, and forgotten. As the gavel falls, the CEO gathers his papers. The hearing is over, but for millions watching, a question remains. If our laws can't protect our DNA, what else have we already lost? The camera pans across the empty chairs, the scattered papers, the echoing chamber, symbols of a government struggling to reclaim its authority over the machines it created. The truth reverberates in the silence. Technology has outpaced our morality, and profit has outpaced our principles. But this story is not over. Every hearing like this, every confrontation, every exposure, pulls back the curtain a little further. It reminds us that democracy only survives when citizens demand transparency louder than corporations demand profit. And so, as the lights dim and the senators leave the room, one truth remains. We are living through the great reckoning of the information age. Whether we reclaim our autonomy or surrender it forever will depend on what happens next, not in that chamber, but in ours, in our homes, our choices, our voices. Because freedom is not a transaction, privacy is not a privilege, and consent, true consent, cannot be buried in the fine print. This is the crossroads, the line between progress and exploitation, between democracy and data feudalism, between humanity and the algorithms that now define it. If the American experiment is to endure, we must defend not only our rights, but the very boundaries of ourselves, the invisible borders of our DNA, our thoughts, our data, our dignity. So as the hearing fades to black, remember what's at stake. Remember the moment Senator Hawley said, "Sue them into oblivion." It wasn't just anger, it was a warning that the era of unaccountable power must end. And it begins with truth, with exposure, with courage. Because sunlight is still the best disinfectant. I'm the voice of liberal freedom. Stay informed. stay awake. And if you believe that truth still matters, subscribe, share, and stand with us. Together, we expose the powerful. Together, we defend what's left of freedom.